Hey everybody, this is Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy, and welcome back to week 2, day 6 of the Time Management Challenge. So whether you are a hypnotherapist, an expert, an NLP master, a coach, or some other kind of expert consultant, someone in the how-to space, or someone who does treatments of any kind, if you're helping people with whether it's addiction, or whether it's anxiety, depression, insomnia, relationships, finance, business, if you're helping people, whether it's sleep, or you're helping people with their life in some way, to inspire them, to educate them, to treat them through either online courses, through seminars, through workshops, through one-on-one clients, you really want to get this up and running. You want to build the lifestyle of your dreams. You want your next 5 years to be amazing. You want your next 45 days to really pull this off. You want to make sure that you're making the right decisions. You're spending your time well. This is about honoring the finish line today. As I promised, I wanted to give you a story about a friend of mine who basically, you could say he, for the last 9 years, he's had this massive dream, and he spent his time like insulting himself, trying to convince other people that he will be successful instead of just doing the steps, overcomplicating things, procrastinating, and not doing the important growth steps and suffering because of it, and then really kind of getting into this like downward spiral, this loop of drugs, of kind of getting involved in others with drugs as well, to a point like where that just nothing had moved forward in 9 years, and he was really scared and afraid of wasting the next 9 years, and he doesn't know what to do with his life. Even though he knows exactly what he wants to do, he didn't know exactly how to pull it off. So I want to tell you this story, but it's about honoring the finish line. If you can't honor that finish line, where I've just seen people that they're convinced sometimes that they don't have 10 minutes to change their life, to film the sales off a video, or they're convinced with that imposter syndrome that nobody would ever listen to them, or they're convinced that they need someone else to approve of their work, or that they need to get it perfect before putting it out, or they're convinced of something else, as in like that, you know, if too much success comes in, then it's going to destroy their life with their family. And like, well, that's not what success is. That's a pretty like sort of screwed up, kind of skewered point of view of like what success actually is. That doesn't sound like success, to have something destroy your family. If it was successful, it would be successful for the family as well, because it would be worked out and planned and measured. It would give you more money, it would give you more free time, it would give you more passion, it would give you more health. It's success. That's what success is. It's things working. And people get stuck in these paradigms in their head. So let me tell you this story about my friends that I saw on the weekend. So like even how last week, I only worked for 2 days. I still have my brother working for me full-time. He requires a full-time income. I was at a book writing retreat for 3 days and still managed to get this course out, because I know how I'm spending my time. I know what kind of tasks I'm doing and when. I still socialized more than ever last week. I still visited friends. I attended events, met a new girl, all these sorts of things that that happened. And it's really about making that decision, like actually believing that you can do this. Let me tell you about my friends, because there's something that you're going to really want to know. That's not actually a picture of him, that's a stock image. I'm not using his name, so for privacy, and I'm not using a photo. But there's him and his girlfriend that they both want to be entrepreneurs. I've known him for 9 years, and it's like when I met him at this kind of family event, or a family event of a friend, he had so much passion in him. I hadn't started my business, but I kind of knew what I was going to do, and I just had this like confidence about me that like I think I know what my steps are, and I just went about and did it. In my first 6 months, I was seeing 40 clients a week. I was in the Hamish and Andy show in Australia, like Australia's biggest radio show, for free in my first year of business. I was top on the search engines. I was hiring hypnotherapists. Shortly after that, became a lecturer at the Academy of Hypnotic Science, the same place that made it legal in Australia to do hypnosis. I was a lecturer there. I was the top seminar leader as well, that whenever I put on an event, it's like when my lecturers that were amazing, they seemed like masters of the universe in some way. They were getting 6 people attending their seminar for 25 bucks, and I got 80. And I'm thinking, what's so different about me to them? Like, yes, my techniques are different. Like, there's a few things that really made the difference. It's like, one is that I could recognize that one skill doesn't apply everywhere, that sometimes you need a second skill set. You need to know how to deliver a product. You need to know how to advertise and bring people in. You need to know how to build trust. You need to know how to speak. You need to know how to do slides. You need to know how to do a bit of technology. But you don't need to know as much of all of it as what you think. You just need to know like a couple of key areas that we can show you like in minutes. if you got the guts to do it, because it's competitive and another 9 years will pass. But this friend of mine that I saw on the weekends, he was crying, he's in pain, he wants to know that his future's going to turn out well, and he's afraid of it not turning out well. But what I found his behavior was, instead of just doing the steps, he was just getting into fear, he was letting the story in his head get in the way, he was overcomplicating things, he was insulting himself. So he basically had always said to me, like, Scott, just put me in front of a classroom and I'll just shine. I'm like, put yourself in front of a classroom, you can do it. Give yourself 2 months, pick an event, pick a place, find a free place or find a cheap place, like it's like maybe $50. Can you find $50 in 2 months and get 15 people into a room in 2 months? Whether you're using Eventbrite or Facebook, like Facebook's incredible. Before Facebook, how would you get 15 people into a room? You had to do more work. But now you can just go like, hey, who wants to come to my 2-hour event? 15 people will come. You can set up an event and people will say like, yes, I'm going. People do it for parties. Like when it comes to a seminar where you speak for 2 hours, people overcomplicate kind of getting 15 people in a room for that. But for a birthday party, or if they've got 15 cousins or something, they know how easy it is, but then they overcomplicate the story in their head when it comes to their own success. And it's gone, Scott, just put me in front of a classroom and I will just shine. I'm like, well, you can do it. Like, here's the steps. Here's step 1, go do it. He's like, oh no, I can't do that. I'm like, what? You can't do it. So then he would overcomplicate it. Like, it's like kind of going, I want to put on a song and dance. I want to have the world's biggest thing that makes a difference to the world. I want to set people free. People who are broke, sick, depressed, I want to help them because I know, like, you know, the help that I've received, I want to be able to help them. But he's overcomplicating it. And so he's building this story in his head about how huge his mission has to be, instead of just like starting. Because it's a lot easier to use resources that you've got, like once you're a bit bigger, to move to level 3 then 4 then 5 than it is to jump from 0 to 5. He just needs to get to level 1. He just needs to start. Version 1 is better than version none. Like, the first stuff he puts out is not going to be brilliant, but it's going to be done, and then the second lot will be better. But just kind of like the complications behind this, going like, I want to include, you know, like health stuff, science stuff, stuff about atoms, stuff about anxiety, depression, stuff about metaphors and stories. I want to include everything that I've ever heard in my life and put it all into one thing. Like, well, you know, that's just going to confuse people. To begin with, have one simple thing and do it well. Start with that, and then you can get bigger and broader and more complex. So this is all the different ways that his life could turn out. You can't change the past, but he's worried about, like, on one side, maybe like all these different realities, like where he could exist, where he's broke, poor, on drugs, depressed, in a psych ward, which he's spent a lot of time in. Or on the other side, like where he's free, he's healthy, he's wealthy, his relationships are going well, his life's going well. And so the actions that he does today are going to affect going forward which one of those is going to be his future. Because there's a lot of different potential futures that he could have. So when he came on the weekend and he's gone like, Scott, what do you think of my ideas? And I swear that every time I give somebody an hour, 90% of the time that I give them is them talking by either insulting themselves or overcomplicating something. Insulting themselves or overcomplicating something. They're kind of like sort of saying, my work's not good enough, or it's all too confusing, or, you know, I'm too slow, I don't have time, whatever. Or they're overcomplicating it by, like, they exaggerate how much time it's going to take to do something. They won't do a 20-minute block or a 10 or 5-minute block because they're imagining the billion years it's going to take to achieve something. They're exaggerating instead of just doing something. Like, do something that counts. So years went past. So 9 years had passed and he still hasn't seen his first client. He hasn't built an online course. He's never had a seminar. He hasn't never earned a single dollar through this stuff. He hasn't even had leads. And it's sad because, like, this is his life's dream, and he's in pain because of this lack of success that he's having, because he knows that he can't do a normal job because he's so passionate about this stuff. And he's, like, seen all the online courses. He's rewritten them all. But what's holding him up? Keeps telling his mum, like, how successful he's going to be, and his mum's gone, I haven't seen you do anything yet. And I don't know if perhaps maybe I'm on her side going, well, show us both something. Like, we don't care if it's small, but just get something done, get something finished, face a fear, and do your first steps. Like, it's really only like leads, trust, sales, and product. Do that, and you've got a business. So there he is, just insulting himself. And I'm basically just saying to him, just stop it. So like, again, like I swear, like with every client that I see or every student that I see, if I just let them go in a 1 hour session and just say whatever they want, they end up just like talking themselves into a depression. So I'd like to say, stop. You don't need the other person in the house with you to tell you that your work's okay. Just put it out there. Let the market tell you if it's okay. You don't need to assume that you don't have time to do 10 minutes work. You don't need it to be perfect. You don't need to have imposter syndrome. There are people out there who are in pain because they have anxiety, insomnia, depression, food issues, sugar addiction, alcohol, cigarettes addiction, whatever it is that they have. They need your help. They're suffering. They're waiting for you to put out your ad, to take their money so that you can buy your house or pay for your house and you can watch your bank account go up by $1,000 every week. They want that for you in exchange for the help that you give them. But this guy just wasn't doing the steps. All he was doing is spending all of his time on this. All of his time basically just feeling bad for himself, feeling sorry for himself. Instead of just getting it done, do step 1, then do step 2. It's like, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough for this. Yes, you are. It's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I know I'm good enough. So maybe I'm just like an idiot for wasting so much time. Stop insulting yourself and take a step. Stop insulting yourself and just go out and take a step. Well, you know, like I know my future's going to be great. Like I know that like I can do this. I just know you have to believe me. I'm like, I believe you. Do you believe you? Go and do a step. I know, but like I've got a busy day today. Like, yeah, you can have a busy day tomorrow as well. You've had a busy day every day for 9 years. Just take this 5 or 10 minutes now and just do this one step. It's basically 4 things. Just do a little bit on each one per day, or just do a little bit on one of them per day. It's like leads, trust, sales, product. Leads, trust, sales, product. What are you working on? Which one is lacking? Progress it for 10 minutes. Over 9 years, you would have been like, you know, so successful so many times over if you just like had done these 4 things. Leads, trust, sales, and product. But all he does is just insult himself. So like he's at the house, and so I set him a challenge. He's been wasting so much time, so many years have passed, and we just know that so many more years will pass. He needs coaching. A lot of people, they put the cart before the horse. They go, well, I've got to wait for the success before I do the steps. Or like that I can't go to the gym because I'm not fit enough. You're like, well, that's what gyms are for. So you need a coach, he needs a coach, that you need someone to actually help you with it. Cause and effect is basically how much money you have. It's a cause and effect issue, that you've got to do the cause to create the effect. So it's like when people say that, you know, like I can't afford a coach, it's like, no, that it's the other way around. It's that you're spending money on coffee, or you're spending money on biscuits or something, you're spending money on cigarettes, or you're spending money on just rubbish, instead of like really planning this, like doing the cause and effect stuff, like where he's spending so much time insulting himself instead of doing the work, or he's investing money on stupid things and like making sure that he's got like the best computer every year instead of just doing the work. So this challenge that I set him, so there's leads, and then build trust, and then sales. The first step was with leads, to get leads. One step. So he's in the backyard, and we've gone, all right, I'll write your headline for you. Go in the backyard, and press the button when you're ready. And I've talked him through what to say. You're going to offer an ebook. So the ebook was almost already written. He came and he just wanted to read me the ebook. And I'm like, I don't need to see your ebook. I really don't. That's not going to further your future. The ebook is there to get you leads. Make sure that the ebook is good. I'll talk to you through it in a minute, how to build the ebook and make it better, how to make it structured, how to make your headlines come from your client's point of view instead of coming from your own, because no one knows how smart you are. Like, no one cares how smart you are. No one understands like the vague jargon terminology that's going in your head because you've studied something that's amazing, but your client hasn't studied that same amazing thing. They just need layman's language, normal language. What's the problem they're going through? What's the promise of what they can have on the other side? And what's their path? So problem, path, promise. that's the ebook stuff that we'll get into later. But it's like with him, I just want him to do one thing, just one thing. Press record and start speaking. In 2 minutes, you'll be done. Basically say like, hey everybody, this is name from business name, and thanks for having me in your newsfeed. Do you find that you want to reach blah 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 success or blah blah blah? Like he's building like a book on how to up your creativity. We talked him through like the problems he would talk them through, as in like that you find that you're stuck, that you don't know what's next, you don't know how to get the creative juices flowing, or that you don't know what will inspire you. And then the next thing he had to say was basically, I have an ebook which is free, type I'm in and I will send you a copy. He already had the opt-in page, but in 9 years he hadn't still had a single lead. And so he's down the backyard with his phone, and he comes back up the stairs and he says, I couldn't do it. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm like, the guy who basically said, put me in front of a classroom and I'll shine, you just had to do a 2-minute video. It's like, and you didn't do it. Like, what happened? And he's gone, I just got to tell you some things at the moment. That with my girlfriend, she's not well at the moment. We're having some arguments, having some fights. Sorry, I'll go back a bit. We're having some arguments, we're having some fights, and there's more about her that you don't know right now. There's some other problems in the background. I'm like, well, what? Like, this is we're talking about you doing a 2-minute video, right? So it's like this Facebook Live, like in 2 minutes you could be finished. I understand maybe there's some stuff going on with your girlfriend, but I really don't get it. What do you mean? Like, why can't you do the video? Like, is it concentration or what? Like, let's just rehearse it a bit more and you can do it, because 9 years have passed, and I mean, like, you've spent an hour here already, so obviously it's not time. It's like, well, just to get the leads, you need to do this 2-minute video and you'll be done. And he's like, but, you know, like, I want to be able to see clients one-on-one, and I want to be able to build online courses, and I want to be able to do seminars, but she's sick at the moment. Like, she's on drugs, and I want to be able to help her, and it's really stressing me out. I'm like, okay, like, that sounds pretty bad. Like, what kind of drugs? And it's like, well, some pretty bad ones. I'm like, alright, well, what kind of sick is she? Like, well, you know, she's still in bed now, and it's like 3 in the afternoon. I'm like, okay. I mean, I get this is bad, I have sympathy for that, but like, what's that got to do with like a 2-minute video? Like, I don't want to sound cold, I don't want to sound uncaring, but it's been 9 years. You need to look through this mirror at yourself. Like, do you remember like 9 years ago, like, you had a different girlfriend, and after that you had another girlfriend, like, that each one of them had an issue. They were sick for different reasons, or that they were depressed for different reasons, and you haven't had a lead in 9 years. You've got this business you want to build for yourself. You can go home and care for her, but you can get this 2-minute video done first. Look in your reflection in the mirror and just like really tell me, like, what is it that needs to change here? Because 9 years will pass, and he's like, oh, can I do that? Can I do it tomorrow? I'm like, it's already tomorrow from 9 years ago. That's the thing. It's already tomorrow from 9 years ago when you wanted to do this. Like, you haven't got a coach, you haven't done your steps, and it's been 9 years. But I don't think it's a good day to do it. Like, I've heard you say that before. For 9 years I've heard you say that, and am I going to be hearing you say this in another 9 years? Look in the reflection and love yourself. Give this to yourself. Because do you think that maybe you could help your girlfriend better if you were an example, that you were more calm and relaxed? There is no amount of poverty that you can acquire that helps you save somebody else. People who are obsessed with acquiring poverty, they're not necessarily better people or good people. They're just people that have a bad money story in their brain. They're not necessarily bad people either, but they have a bad relationship with money because they're not managing the resources like an adult. They're managing the resources like a child. Look in the mirror. So like with him, I'm asking him, like, look in the mirror and ask yourself that, are you at cause or are you at effect? So we brought in the panic monster, and I basically just had to let him have it and just say, look, if you're not going to do it now, then just don't worry about it. Just cancel this whole thing and just go get a job. And he's like, you know that's one of my triggers. Don't tell me to get a job. I'm like, well, it's either that or go do the video. What's it going to be? Are you the same as like, you know, are you making a decision to make this work for yourself? Are you making a decision to overcome? So like basically saying, you know, I have problems in my life, therefore I'm not doing the work. Problems are part of the deal. It's that whether you aim high in life or whether you aim low in life, the workload is the same, but the reward is very different. So the panic monster is a deadline. Introduce deadlines yourself so that the world is not introducing deadlines for you. Because you should be running at your own deadlines. Because running at the world's deadlines, that's painful. That's the egg breaking from the outside. That's death. But the egg breaking from the inside is life. Be your own panic monster and say, I'm going to give myself till this moment or to this half hour, 4 hour block to get this one small task finished. And do it. Feel that, like, if it's getting closer to the end of the 4 hours and you haven't finished, feel the pain, because there's going to be pain in life. There's going to be pleasure in life, but the feeling of overcoming that pain is so much better than having never had the pain in the first place, knowing that you've won, that you are a person who was congruent and you can help people. Because, like, the money can go up. It's like when you hire a coach, you do the steps, you write your central goal, you work on the plan with your coach, you code your time, and then you submit the work, and you don't keep it to yourself. You don't show it to your partner, you don't show it to your mum. Like, you don't show it to your friends and family. They're not part of this journey for you. Like, they might be doing the same thing or something different, but they're not part of this journey for you. They're part of your family journey. They're not part of your business journey. Unless they're your actual business partner, they're not part of this. This is yours. So for him, like, it's that building, like, letting the money go up in the bank, like watching it progressively go up. Whether you save, like, you know, $192 a week through, like, you've done these 5 minutes, like every week you do a 5-minute backyard video, and that gets you $192 extra a week, and that's like 40 grand that you've perhaps, like, you've over 4 years you've built this. You've gone to the bank, you've made a new account. Now, after 4 years, you've got another 40 grand in the bank. Because you did a 5-minute video every week, you saved another 192, and after 4 years, you had another 40 grand in the bank. Or just don't. So, like, someone going like, oh, I can't do it, and just coming going like, oh, I'm afraid, or my girlfriend's sick, or that she's on drugs or something. Well, it's like, she's going to be on drugs whether you do this video or not. I mean, like, there's chaos in the world, but people's brains, this neural pathway, they tend to sort of go, well, because of this bad thing, I can't take this positive action. And it's the other way around. It's the cause effect. It's the cart before the horse. You've got to put the horse before the cart and say, I'm taking action. Like with the mother duck doesn't try to, like, line up all the ducks before she starts going. That's like trying to play pool with a rope or playing snooker with a rope. The mother duck basically just starts walking, and if those chicks want to follow, they follow. If not, they get left behind. This is competitive, my friend. This is a competitive business. You've got to do the work. So 10-minute blocks, just even 10-minute blocks. Like, what's the one thing that I'm procrastinating the most at the moment? Is it getting the coach? Is it investing the money? Is it getting the room? Is it hiring the venue? Is it doing the video? Is it just kind of pressing the record button? Is it posting it? Is it writing the ad? Is it kind of like getting away from all humans for a minute, like while you get the clipboard out and you draw the central goal? Is it getting it? Is it buying a diary? Is it buying pens because you don't have freaking pens in the house? 10-minute blocks. Like, what's the one thing you can do in the next 10 minutes that is going to bust you through an obstacle? And then tomorrow, like, what's another 10-minute thing you can do that'll bust you through an obstacle? Like, if you need to, like, if you haven't asked for our Atsto book, like, I'm quite surprised actually, like, when people, like, I sort of say, I've got this book, it's like, you know, $6 a week for 10 weeks, that'll show you exactly how to do these Facebook videos, formula for formula. It's also got a program in there where you can just answer questions and it'll email you with your scripts. And people go like, oh yeah, I don't have $6 a week, or I don't have the time to read it. And then 9 years pass and they still haven't done this. I'm really surprised actually. This is competitive, and people won't take their futures seriously, or they'll whether it's they buy something from me, they buy something from someone else, or that they just won't hit record. There's something going on that they need to look in the mirror and kind of go, what is it about me, or what is it about my feelings? What needs not being met? What's stopping me from moving forward? Is it that I'm afraid of moving forward alone? That I feel that if I get successful, that people won't love me anymore, people won't relate to me, I won't know what to say at family Christmas dinners? When people go, well, you're this successful person, and I don't even know how to talk to you anymore. Or is it kind of like that I'm afraid of being judged? Like, if I put my face out there and say words, what if I get them wrong and everyone wants to come and tar and feather me? Get through these 10-minute blocks. Like, unblock yourself by doing a 10-minute block exercise. What is it that you need to do? And make it real. And don't just like say, oh, I'll do it later and burn time. Like, can I do it tomorrow? No, just forget about it. Go get a job. Give up on your dreams and go get a job. Or do a 10-minute block, something that's really going to make a difference. Honor the finish line. And this is what people don't do. It's very competitive. People are not honoring the finish line. Don't be one of them. Be you. So if you need to put out a sign-up button for people, this is something that people are afraid of, like putting out the sign-up button. They won't make the offer. They'll say like, oh, I'm an expert in my field, but I don't have any clients. Well, have you made an offer? Have you designed, like, have you written an ad with a, the HOC that we call it, the headline, offer, and call to action? Do you have anything out there where people can come and pay you? So there's no sign-up button. But there's been this study, like, where it said that the people who are making money online have buttons out there that people can press that puts money into their bank account. And the people who don't, it's like this seminar I went to, at Experts Academy one with Brendan Bouchard years ago, and he's gone like, put your hand up. So out of 500 people, put your hand up if you want to make money online. And almost everybody puts their hand up. Now, keep your hand up if you've got a payment button out there where someone can pay you. And like 2 people out of 500 had their hand up. I was one of them. And I was making money online. So these other people, they just don't have a button online. They don't have like a capture form to get leads. They don't have like a payment button to get money. They don't have the thing set up. They haven't done these 10-minute blocks. So what world are you going to live in next? What decision are you going to make in a 10-minute block? What's the 10 minutes of the day that could really make the decision as to like which world you're going to live in? Poverty or rich, healthy or sick, eat this food or that food, go to bed on time or not, put up the boundaries you need, write the list, be in alignment, make sure that you're getting something back, charge enough, charge something that is going to really make a difference for you. Like these challenges that are really cheap, like even this one's like about $200 or something, that's not where like I get my money. You need to charge enough. Consider charging, if it's one-on-one, at least $200 an hour, and if you're doing group programs, consider charging at least $5,000 for your program. If not, it's kind of in a way like you got to charge business money, and you got to really put out the offer and structure it. Like we've got another program coming up that I'd be happy for like say 3 of you to come and test. My brother's designed this software that'll completely design your script for you, for your videos, for your funnel. I'll talk about it later because this is not an official offer. We're just looking for 3 people to join this program, and this one's going to be like really cheap. It's only going to be something like $197 a week for 6 weeks, but it's competitive out there. So the people that aren't doing this are not going to get there. So once we've had these 3 people, we're not going to offer it again at that price, but we're only going to then include it in the 5K program. So it's kind of like jump on board or don't. But people are so afraid of, like, when it comes to money, they're so afraid. They're afraid to ask for it, they're afraid to invest it in the right spots, but they're not afraid of buying alcohol, cigarettes, or donuts. Or that they're happy to brag about like how successful they're going to be soon, but they're not happy to put out an ad, or they're not happy to put out a video, or they're not happy to get through that, that 5 or 2 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes of just like speaking to the camera. So if you are one of those people that, like, I really honor that. If you are one of those people that you join the program, you've joined this one. If you're one of those people who will put out the videos, you're one of the people who do the work, I really respect that, because you're someone who can get there, you're someone who can be helped, but you got to refresh that every day and really back it up with, I'm going to bring the courage, because it's really competitive out there. But not a lot of people are doing the right things. Not a lot of people are living in freedom. They need to look in the mirror and ask themselves, like, what's it going to take for me to take this seriously? So thanks so much for being part of this. It's about honoring the finish line. So my friend, finally, I sent him back down to the backyard to film the video, and he did it. It wasn't a brilliant video, but it was his first. And he left it up, and people started to see it, people started to comment on it. But could you imagine, like, what if he didn't do it? What if another 9 years passed instead of just getting on with this? It's like with my brother and I, like, being able to produce, like, $5,000 weeks. It's not hard. We follow steps, but the hard parts is more like the internal world. It's like the feelings about, like, well, can I go out there into the backyard or to the park and film the sales off a video? Or can I have the courage to put up the boundaries in the house and say, I need some time to myself to get this video done, or this ebook done, or this ad done, or to ask for help, or to hire a coach? And that's a big one for people, because, like, people have this trust issue where they'd rather let 9 years pass and regret not living their life than to just get some help, or get, like, a $60 book that just tells them how to do it, or join a sort of cheap program. So that's why I honor you guys so much for being a part of this. Honor the finish line, get it done. So if you've been hurt in the past because someone trolled you and told you you weren't good enough for this, the best thing to do is get back up, and you'll be living with the kings and queens. It's that simple, but it's not necessarily that easy, because there's emotional pain to get through. So we'll see you tomorrow.